Back. It's Classic DM. This is Season 2, Episode 4, Stopping for Directions. So, at the end of the last episode, our players had a number of items they recovered. And without going into too much detail, let's just jump right into it. We have a few magic items: the Giant Slayers from the setting, the Hill Giant Chief, Scroll of Protection from Elements, the Ring of Fire Resistance, the Cold Wand, and a Jeweled Belt. Those last four items were all recovered inside the frozen cubes of ice that had former adventurers that had been encased there, probably by the Frost Giants. Pretty much on display as a sign that saying that if you come here, you're not going to make it out alive. Now, the real key piece of treasure here is the Girdle of Fire Giant Strength. And if you go to the Patreon page, you can vote on who gets it. In fact, people have already started voting on who should get it, and I can't believe that Vernjar is winning the vote. So if you want to go change that to be Mercedes or someone else, you've got until 6 p.m. tomorrow night to change that. But this episode is talking about what you can do to be involved in choosing what the whole party does next in the next actual live combat episode. And I will probably run this for 3 or 4 days, maybe 4 days, 5 days at most, because I want to keep the episodes going. I don't want to wait a whole week, and I'm excited about getting to the next one. So let's look at what we're talking about. And what we're talking about down here in the right pane is these maps we discovered. We're first just going to talk about this first map. So where is everyone? Well, there was a cave that the characters first used as a base, and one of the very first rooms that they wiped out was a guard chamber, and they used that as an overnight location. And this is where everyone is. And as you may remember from the previous episode, everyone retreated back to this cave. And let's just get this candle out the way before we burn someone. And they had this really cool map. And we're going to talk about this map, and we're going to have a number of options that the party's going to discuss of what to do. And right now, what they've seen so far is this is what they've done so far. Okay, let's just turn that off for a second. So what they've done so far, you may have heard real quickly, is this is the room that we're in right now, and they've wiped out this area here, tricked the winter wolves into leaving, and got a bunch of magic out of this frozen cubes of ice, and now they set up camp here securely. So let's just go back to that room right now. And they can see across the rift, but they haven't been to any of these other, there's like 20 caves around this entire glacial rift. Let's just get this out of the way. So here we are in the room. We've got Elefantisi hiding in shadows, perched here looking down this long corridor. There was a hear noise check. Anything coming down this corridor, she's going to spot it. Frenjar's here guarding this passageway as well. They've reignited the campfire, cooked some food, rested up. They've got the map that they've got sitting on the table here. And we've got Felcherna the Druid, Obscura the Illusionist. We've got Antola the Cleric, these two are quite very intelligent scholars. Mercedes, or Bossy Boots as I like to call her, the warrior who's kind of the leader. And they're sitting at this table. And remember, these stools are frost giant sized stools. So they're probably more likely standing around this massive, huge table, which probably goes up to your chest. So imagine standing at, you're standing at this huge, huge table. There's a little silly side view sketch, right? Huge, big table. And you're standing, your head kind of like barely peeks over the table. And you put your hand on the table like this, and here's the ground plane. Because for a frost giant, he's sitting at a stool that goes all the way up to here like this. If you try to jump up on that stool, you're probably going to fall down. So here's the ground, right? So they got the map on the table, maybe a candle in the middle. And there's some torches lit. This torch here is lit. This torch here is lit. This one's snuffed out. These are snuffed out, so there's no torches illuminating him, so he's completely in shadows. She's completely in shadows. So that's the situation at hand. Map on the table. Everyone having a conversation. Let's get the map on screen. I'm going to pull the smoke out of the way for a time being. Let's get the map on the screen here. And let's start talking about what the options are. This is a good opportunity for you, whether you know the module, or you've run the module, or you've been a player in the module. Try to make a fair decision. Don't cheat too much. But if you want to cheat, that's fine. I don't mind it. Doesn't bother me. I know the module like the back of my hand. I'm going to put this up here so we can sketch on top of it. Put this underneath the glass here. How's that? Okay, so there, everyone can be on top of it. So here's the map they've discovered. Now, if you look on the right-hand pane, let me pull up a detailed view of that map. So the detailed view looks like this. Okay, so the map is covered with a number of, the one on the left, I've removed all the writing off of it. The map is written in a strange language that no one in the party knows. So it's not written in Giant, or it's not written in Dwarvish, but it has this kind of Norse, northern kind of vibe going on with it. So it has this jagged edge type of look to it. In fact, we can make this a little bigger for you if you want to see it. I'll put this on the Patreon page so you can check it out in greater detail. So here's the map, and all these chambers are all labeled. In fact, the chamber even that they're sitting in right now is labeled. So what does it mean? So one thing they can try doing is try to discover what the writing means, the different spaces. And then from that information, try to discover where to go. So on the Patreon page, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down an article that breaks down what they think, not what it really means, what they think these words actually mean. And then from that, I'm going to list a series of options. So let's just assume for the sake of gameplay here that they've already deciphered what the words mean, and they think they have a good sense, like they think this word down here means the winter means wolves. They think this means giants. And when they see that word here, they think that means giants. And they think this word down here means giants. But they're not sure what this one is. They think this means down. They obviously think this means the rift. These over here mean something else. These two here mean different words, but they're not spelled the same. So using the scholarly abilities of Obscura and Tola, now we're not going to do any crazy rolls or anything, they're able to sort of decipher. Now, there is a magical way to read languages, but we'll try to do that too. But I'll put all that on the Patreon page. But what I want to do with this episode, it's going to be short. We're not going to do a bunch of dice rolls. But let's talk about what the basic options are. So option number 1, right? And what we'll do is we're going to jot this on the side. I'm just going to jot it like this. Option number 1, head down this way, right? This is option number 1. Head down this way and work your way either back out this cave onto this ledge and just keep going down. Okay, that's option number 1. Option number 2 is, because they're here in this cave here, right? This is where everyone is, the big black dot. Option number 2 is to cross over and then start systematically taking out these small caverns to see what's going on with them. Because one thing they've discovered so far is a lot of times when there's little dead-end caverns, it's not integrated into a network. For example, this one here, this was pretty much all winter wolves, and this was frost giant guards, and they've heard talking they thought was ogre talking down here. So suspicion is that perhaps this leads to a series of other caves that are like chambers and more frost giants, and maybe that leads down. They're not even sure yet where that's going to go. So these little one-off caves could be local. They could be yetis. They could be yetis. They could be more frost giants. They could be more winter wolves. They could be all kinds of things. And if you know the module, you know what's really there. But it's something that's going to fit within this environment. So that's option 2, right? So this selection here is systematically clearing option 2. And with that method, that also means just going into here and then going back out and going in here and then going through this and dead end and back out. So basically it's like counterclockwise. So option 2 is the counterclockwise kind of a method. Option 1, go straight down, maybe go down to here, maybe decide later what to do. Option 2 is to backtrack back over and go all around this way. Option 3 is to go down to the floor of the lake and investigate what all this is, because there's ways over here for these ramps to go up. So this is option 3, right? Go to the bed of the lake, check this out, and then maybe once you've checked that out, determine whether to come back up here, because there's a line of separation right here if you look very closely, okay? And then work your way into this, check this out, check this out. This goes down. So far, they've just found some guards and animals. They haven't really found like a decorated complex full of tapestry and gold and anything that would say, hey, this is the real home of these guys. They found kind of like the uppermost layer, which kind of feels like the outer guards of the whole complex, but they haven't been over here. So that's option number 3. Option number 4 is to work your way immediately all the way down here and work your way up to this platform here and try to immediately go straight down. So that's option number 4. Option number 4 is going to guess ahead that what you're going to find in these side caverns is pockets of resistance, but not a mastermind behind everything. So that's the 4 options. Number 1, work your way down, straight down south. Option number 2, do a counterclockwise systematic sweep of everything. Option 3, hit the rift floor, the frozen lake bed, and then work your way up. And option number 4 is work your way straight to get down to here. So that's our 4 options. Everyone's going to discuss it. I'm going to leave the decision up to you, the player. So the way for you to do that is to head over to the Patreon page, where you don't need to pay anything. It's not behind a paywall. I'll put this as an article up with these type of screenshots of this information here, and you can say, hey, I think they should do 1. I think they should do option 2. They should do option 3, and we'll let you decide where they're going to go next. And it also allows me to know which sets of maps to make next too, because the last episode, I think I made over 110 maps. So this, if no one's interested in going down here, or no one's interested in going here, or everyone just wants to go to this, then I don't need to draw these maps, although I'll probably draw them one day just for fun. So that's the 4 options. Think about them again. Go to the Patreon page, check it out. There's a link in the description. There's a link on the front of the YouTube page. That's where you probably found this video. And vote and let me know what you want them to do. And then they're going to agree with your decision. There'll be no charisma rolls. I don't care what your charisma is. Even if it's a 1, it's okay. And then from there, we'll take the adventure on the direction that you've decided. All right? That's the end of this quick episode. Hope you had fun, and I can't wait to see what you have to say about it. Feel free to leave comments, especially at the Patreon page, and let me know, hey, I want to add another option. Can you add option 5? I think option 5 should be do this. So if you have an option like that, you should mention it, and I'll actually add it to the poll if I can. All right? Take care. We'll talk to you soon. This is Classic DM, Season 2, Episode 4, Stopping for Directions.